Hey guys, Beninbeta here. Today we're going to talk a little bit about overlanding. For years now, I've been trying to find an activity that both Misty and I can do no matter what our physical body is feeling that day. We also really enjoy the outdoors. And so one day when I was watching YouTube, I came across a video from Independence Overland. And once I saw what was going on with that, I shared it with Misty and I was like, hey, here's this cool activity where we can go out into the wilderness away from people, which is another thing we'd like to do, and kind of camp, have a good time, explore, and just see the vast wilderness that is the United States, essentially. And anywhere else, but probably the United States for us. So I showed the videos to Misty, and she actually was interested in this. And that's not always the case with some of my hobbies, so I was pretty excited. So the next step for me was figure out, where do we go next? So this video is going to be all about what is overlanding. But before we delve into what overlanding is, hit that like button if you find this video helpful, and subscribe to the channel. And leave a comment about your overlanding adventures, or what you think overlanding is, or what you thought it was before you watched this video. Leave some comments, ask some questions, I'll try to answer them. So what is overlanding? Well, overlanding is a form of vehicle-based adventure travel that involves exploring remote areas and traversing rugged terrain for more than one day. The primary goal of overlanding is the journey itself, which often involves self-reliance and resilience. The main form of lodging is dispersed camping, which can last for extended periods. Dispersed camping involves finding campsites in the national forest or on Bureau of Land Management land. Sometimes you'll find this in counties as well, but mostly those are the major places you're going to find these things. Often these are free and you don't have to pay any money. Sometimes you do, but majority of the sites that you'll find are free. However, the best amenities that you're going to find at one of these sites are often a fire ring. You have to pack out what you pack in, and there are rarely any nearby bathrooms. Overlanding is often done in a truck or a camper or a built-out rig that can handle rough roads over long distances. And while most enthusiasts recommend having a highly capable four-wheel drive vehicle, you can overland in a two-wheel drive car as long as you plan ahead. There are many videos and channels on YouTube dedicated to overlanding, and I've listed a few of these in the description for you to check out if you want. One thing you're going to quickly learn is that many of these videos feature these awesome, well-built-up vehicles that can go anywhere. So you might be thinking to yourself, how do you get into this? And that's kind of what we're thinking right now too. One thing that I think seems pretty important is that people like to build out their vehicles, choose different pieces of it. Some of it's the gear that you're going to use while you're camping, some of it's the vehicle itself, and everybody seems to enjoy that, and every vehicle is kind of unique. So we're kind of excited about that, but it also means that you can spend a lot of money. Once I showed my wife some more of this stuff, that's where things started to fall apart. Part of that's my fault, because you see, I like to try new things. That's why I'm Beninbeta. And oftentimes I don't stick with those things forever. Some things I do, but some things I don't. And this is going to be a pretty expensive hobby. So my wife wanted to make sure we were going to stick with this. The other thing is, about 8 months ago, we just got a new Hyundai Tucson. And my wife wasn't super keen, again, on trading that vehicle in and starting from scratch and building up all this stuff just to not use this vehicle for overlanding in the end. So we're going to take it a little bit slow. In fact, Misty came up with a pretty good idea and said, let's see if we can start with what we have. And a lot of YouTube channels will recommend that as well. Just get out there, and I do too. Once we started getting out there with our Tucson, we discovered that it's actually A, doable, and B, pretty amazing to get away from the campgrounds, get away from people, and just enjoy nature. So if we could do it in our Tucson, you could probably do it in your vehicle. In fact, the very first time that I tried to go overlanding and it wasn't quite successful, I was a little bit scared that my vehicle wasn't going to handle the road. And it turns out there was a whole bunch of Honda Civics and cars like that on the road that were going way faster than I was. So after that, I was like, okay, if they can handle this trail, so can I. And this overlanding thing is doable in my Tucson. The other thing she recommended is that we try to rent a built-out vehicle, test that out, see what we like, what we don't like before we buy something. And I actually thought that was a pretty good idea. Next July, we're going to be renting a vehicle from Peak Overlanding in the Denver metro area, and then heading out to the Flat Tops. And we're going to be going with some friends as well, so it's going to be kind of an experience for all of us. So we're going to learn a lot. Once we're done with that, we'll choose a vehicle, and throughout the next year I'll be working on figuring out what the right vehicle is for us, what the right trim levels are, and if we need any upgrades from there. hopefully we'll be able to buy something that we're very happy with. And even if we decided to get out of overlanding at some point, we want this vehicle to work for us too. So it's important that we choose a vehicle that's going to work both on-road and off-road. If you're considering going out in your vehicle, you might feel a bit scared. But there's a few things you can do to prepare. There's a number of really good apps out there, which I will link in the description as well, for you to check out. Onyx Off-Road is a good one, Gaia GPS, and Trails Off-Road. I actually use Gaia and Trails Off-Road, and then I also use Google Earth and Google Maps to help try to figure out what sites we might want to try to find as well. And I'll probably put a video out about that, but there's lots of those on YouTube as well. We have already started our overlanding adventures, and we're going to be posting videos throughout that journey as we overland in our Tucson, attend expos, meet new people, buy and use gear, and ultimately choose a vehicle and build it out. So stay tuned for more videos. Thanks for watching. Remember to live your life in beta, and we'll see you next time.